Thank you for joining us here on Mortal to Mortal. Today I have with me the phenomenal Lady Kristen Walsh. Thank you for
Hi.
joining me today.
Hello.
um, so, for those folks that are watching that might not know you, Kristen, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am Kristen. I'm at that nerd girl underscore on Twitter. So you either know me from Twitter or you know me from Team Hooman or Critical Role because I'm hanging out in all those communities. I also do a variety of stuff. I direct a lot. I arrange and compose music, and I do a little bit of acting on the side, a little bit of singing on the side. I do a lot of stuff.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun. Yeah,
I've seen your photography. Beautiful photos that you've put up on Facebook. At least Facebook. I'm not sure if I've
yeah,
seen them
yeah.
on your Twitter. How long have you been into that photography?
Um, I think for quite a long time. I mean, my mom was quite the photographer. Bought a digital
Oh,
camera and then didn't really use it a lot. And then I started using it for just fun. And then I started really getting into it a little bit. And then that kind of led into picking out lenses for film. And as I got more into film, I also got more into just learning, because a lot of things you learn in photography and film are kind of interchangeable.
mm,
So yeah, I started taking a lot. Once I got a nice lens, I started being
mm.
able to take a lot more pictures, and I started just the interest kind of evolved just from the ability that I had to start doing more high quality photography.
That's great. Neat.
Yeah,
It shows. Yeah, I love a lot of the photos you've taken. Are really classy. They're
yeah.
sharp. I like them.
Thank you.
No problem. So would you say that your interest in photography is what led to your further interest in like videography and filmmaking, or was that something else that sparked that interest?
Um, I I don't know. I think they've kind of been separate hobbies. I think, I mean, I had, I was doing photography before I knew that the camera I was using for photography also had kind of like a video function to it. So
Ah,
I guess, honestly, my kind of filmmaking career kind of started recently, I guess within
okay.
the a year and a half or so. I've been
Oh,
just starting to get really into it. So I think photography has always been a hobby that I've loved to do, and
hmm,
I think, yeah, it kind of smooth kind of moved into video, but I think there was a definite point where I decided video is something that I'd like to do. So
that's
yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you have any current cinematography type work or anything you're working on in that end of things currently?
Right now, just kind of portfolios
Ah,
for school.
hmm.
I'm working on kind of short advertisements for a couple of
Mm.
businesses.
Oh, neat.
Um, yeah, so nothing film wise, but
Hmm.
I'm doing little bits here and there. You do what you can do. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not I'm pretty self-trained. I
Okay.
mean, I've done a little bit in school, but
Hmm.
most of it is just me. So,
Mm.
I mean, right now I'm trying to get into a school so I can learn a lot more about
Oh,
it. Yeah,
excellent.
so not a ton of projects on my plate right now,
Hmm.
but I'm hoping soon I'll be able to start doing more with that
Beautiful.
side of things. Yeah.
You mentioned also that you direct, that you're a director as well.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little more about that and if you're working on anything there?
It's mostly for drama class,
Oh,
but
cool.
yeah, I'm, I'm kind of the year between high school and university, so
Hmm.
our classes is just a lot of like kind of between like a high school drama class and a university drama class.
Ah,
So
okay.
we're kind of told like you have to direct so many things a year, and then they kind
Oh,
of expect us to do things like writing plays and things like that. So
I
yeah,
see.
it's kind of been more of a class thing than a thing I kind of go out and do by myself,
Hmm.
but I still enjoy it and it's still fun and
Yeah,
it's definitely helpful for other things that I am doing. So yeah,
I bet.
yeah, especially when when you want to go into film, having even stage directing
Hmm.
knowledge is good to have. So
It's gotta
yeah,
be. Yeah.
yeah.
A lot of people management, I imagine, and
Oh yeah, a
skills that you.
ridiculous amount of people management. Yeah,
Oh,
and it's
neat.
definitely taught me kind of how to step up and say like, "Hey, like listen to me."
Hmm.
I'm not one to be like stepping up and saying I'm the boss of things.
Yeah.
Really, I'm kind of more of like a I'll just chill in the group, and so
Gotcha.
directing has definitely taught me to be a little more when push comes to shove, you got to do what you got to do. So
Nice.
good life skills to have, I guess. Yeah.
Absolutely. um, Now you're quite a musician. I know, like you mentioned, you're a composer and arranger as well, right? You do a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, it really started with Critical Role, I think.
Oh, really?
I can't draw at all. I have no artistic
Hmm.
talent in the drawing area.
Neat.
So I saw I saw a lot of people doing fan art, and I was like, I can't draw for shit. Can we
Right.
swear here?
You're fine. Yeah.
Okay, good. I can't draw, but what I can do is I can play. And so
All right.
I hadn't done anything. I hadn't done any composing or arranging
Wow. Okay.
up until then, and then I just thought, you know what? I mean, I have the background of music, and that's kind of my art form, so
Hmm.
I might as well use it. And yeah, so I've on and off been putting, I don't know, I think I have about 10 or 11 tracks out right now, and
Wow.
hopefully I'll put out some more. Right now it's kind of busy,
Mm.
and I don't really have great recording equipment, but
Oh, sure.
yeah, hopefully soon I'll start doing
Neat.
more of that. But there's a lot of great musicians in the community who
Mm.
I really hope more people like, because I know people go and they are like they look for fan art, they look for fan art for different characters or whatever. I really
Yeah.
hope people look for music too, because
Yeah. It's a good
it's
thought.
great music, and like most of it is just out there for your consumption, and you can like download it to your iPod and you can listen to it a
Right.
lot. And I feel like it's underappreciated
Mm.
art form,
It
especially in the community.
right.
But
It needs a
yeah,
hashtag, I think.
it
We'll
does.
have to start that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I've definitely been kind of putting it out there like, hey, I write music. If you need more music, like,
Right.
just let me know. I
Hmm.
mean, you show art before and after the streams.
Right.
Maybe add a little music in
Yeah.
there.
Play some. Yeah.
Play
Compositions
some critter
during that.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying just me, because there is a ton. Like,
Mm.
I don't think people know how many critter musicians are writing music about Critical
Wow.
Role. There's a lot, and
Wow. That's
I feel like they deserve a little bit of recognition too.
sure. Yeah, we'll have to
Yeah,
get the love out there with the hashtag. And I,
yeah, we need a cool hashtag.
right.
That, yeah.
Is your music up anywhere where we might be able to link it here? Do you have it
Um,
up anywhere where people can see
Usually,
or
if
listen?
I come out with something, it's posted pretty quickly to Twitter.
Oh.
I think I don't remember my name, but
Ah.
you'll know. You'll know if you just look up my name in Twitter and just SoundCloud. It will come
Ah.
up. It will come up. You'll
Okay.
find it.
I'll
It's
try
not
and get it from you
hard.
too. I can put it in the about section below
Yeah,
the
cool,
video and stuff. So,
cool.
um, let's see. So, outside of Critical Role, and I do think I want to get back to Critters and
Yeah, yeah.
Team Hooman and stuff in a bit. Um, Just the last question regarding music. Do you have like a favorite genre for music, both for listening to and for composing?
I'm kind of all over the
Mm,
place when it comes to music.
neat.
I love a lot of different types of music. I love movie soundtracks.
Oh,
I gravitate towards, well, right now I've been listening to La La Land on repeat. The
okay.
soundtrack. I have not seen the movie, but I've
Neat.
been listening to the soundtrack for
That's great.
like forever. The soundtrack is so great, and I've also been listening to the Moana soundtrack, which is another movie that I've
Oh.
not seen yet. I should get around to seeing, but that's another soundtrack that I've been. It's basically been La La Land and Moana
That's excellent.
alternating between the two of them. Yeah. Um, I don't know. I kind of like. I have a variety of music on my Spotify list. I like
Okay.
weird indie bands and
Mm.
generic pop and Ed Sheeran's album. His new
Ah.
album is amazing.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't usually tend to go for like mainstream pop as much, but I
Mhm.
there's a couple of good songs. I like Beyonce.
All right.
Um, there's a band called A Great Big World. They came up with Say Something. You remember that really
I,
sad song a couple of
yeah.
years ago? They
Yeah.
have they have amazing albums, like
Really?
three really great albums.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, the Mountain Goats. Yeah, I could go on about my music, my
That's
taste in
great.
music, because it's a lot. There's a lot. I think I have a couple thousand songs in my Spotify
Wow.
playlist. Yeah,
That's
so
great.
it's all over the place. Acapella.
Ah, awesome.
Yeah,
Love acapella.
I'm way out. I'm
Yeah.
way out there when it comes to music.
Excellent. How about composing? Do you feel like you have any genres that really click when that you'd like to use when you're putting music together?
Right now it's basic instrumental stuff.
Okay.
I like to write my own music,
Mm.
ideally, that like with vocal tracks.
Um,
That's harder. I mean structurally when writing music,
oh, okay.
usually writing, well no, usually when you write songs, structurally it's easier, but putting words to music I don't find as easy
Ah,
because
okay.
a lot of my stuff isn't paper to piano. Like it's not like I write it down. It's basically I
Oh,
come out with like a general melody in my head and then I play around with it for a bit and then I record it. So
neat.
it's not like
Right.
bam bam bam. It's not like
Yeah.
I'm writing it down. It's not like I have piles of sheet music everywhere.
Right.
It's kind of more like improv almost. Like it's kind of
Okay.
like improv music,
Oh, I like
which
that.
is fun.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then some of them, if they're really good, I'll write down sheet music. But that doesn't happen very often because usually, if I like the song well enough, I can keep it in my head and then go back to it when I want it. So,
Ah. Now, do you
yeah.
have any instruments that you know that you play?
I play a crap ton of instruments.
Really? Cool.
Yes, so I have my grade 8 classical piano with
Oh,
theory.
wow. Hmm.
I played cello in grade 8 string orchestra. I played violin in grade 8 string orchestra. I
Nice.
played flute grade 9,
Okay.
clarinet grade 10. A
Wow.
variety of percussion instruments. I played a little bit of trumpet and then gave up on that because that's hard. um, yeah,
They
I
all
play a
sound hard
lot
to
of
me, just for the record.
I play a lot of music. I've played a lot of musical instruments.
That's great.
It's funny. The one thing I can't pick up is the guitar. You'd think out of all the
Oh,
instruments you'd be able to pick up, the guitar would be like second easiest to piano, and I just
sure.
can't.
Huh.
I just can't. I don't
That's
know why.
interesting. Yeah, one of
Yeah,
those.
yeah. It's kind of weird. Yeah.
Hmm.
I Yeah, that's definitely something I bring up in job interviews a lot because I think
Sure.
people associate music and like being able to play a lot of instruments with like
Hmm.
I don't know what they associate it with, but it
Yeah.
always gets
Good
real like,
things. Yeah.
oh wow, that's amazing. So
They make little
that's
notes.
kind of
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of what I bring to the party. Like, what do you do? Oh, I just play a lot of stuff. Not great, but I can play a lot of instruments,
Right.
which
Neat.
is which is awesome. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that's kind of my thing.
cool.
Yeah.
To sort of circle back to Critical Role and Team Human, Um,
Hmm.
I guess I'd like to ask when you first discovered Critical Role, like when and how.
No. Okay, so this is gonna basically I'm gonna have to describe how I found Team Human because it's
Okay,
kind of kind of
ties
just
in.
smushes and like I don't have a very clear like version of this because
Okay.
I don't really like I wasn't going into it being like this is a life-changing moment.
Yeah.
Oh. Um or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
So basically I think I forget. It was like a couple of years ago now.
Mhm.
Felicia came to Toronto for her book tour.
Oh, okay.
And I really don't know why I was so I don't know. It was weird because I like saw two episodes of her on Supernatural, and those were the
Mhm.
only Supernatural episodes
Oh,
I ever watched because I don't like Supernatural at all. Not
gotcha.
because the acting isn't good, but because I don't do scary stuff. Anyways,
Oh, gotcha.
yeah. Anyways, I watched two episodes with her. Heard she was coming out with a book. I bought her book, and then I loved it. I loved
Mm.
her book, and
Oh,
I was
great
like,
book. Yeah.
yeah, it was so good. I connected with it, and for some
Mm.
reason, I was like, I need to go to Toronto to meet her.
Neat.
Didn't know anything about Team Human. I didn't know anything. I
Oh.
think I started watching The Guild during that time. I didn't know
Ah.
anything about Geek and Sundry. I knew nothing. I was just
Mm.
like, I just read this book, and it was great.
Neat.
And so my sister had skating in Thornhill. I skipped work,
Oh. Ooh.
took the bus into Toronto,
Mhm.
which was a big deal for me
Okay.
because I just moved from a small town where you can't take a bus. So taking the
Oh.
bus all by myself was like
Uh,
oh, so amazing. And
right.
then yeah, I waited in line for I don't know a ridiculous amount of hours. I met
um.
Felicia. It was
Neat.
embarrassing.
Really?
So embarrassing. It was painfully embarrassing. Looking back
Oh.
at it now, it was painfully embarrassing. It was hot,
Oh,
and
what?
I've been standing in line for like 8 hours. There was no air conditioning, and I was
Oh
crying,
no.
and it was like
Oh,
I was a mess. I was
yeah.
such a mess.
You blame it on the
And,
heat. Yeah.
and yeah, let's blame it on just the heat and my like non-existent emotional stability. Um, and then I went home and I was like, okay, now I'm just going to follow Felicia on all the things, and I'm going to whatever basically stalk her, but not really.
Yeah. Consume all of
Um,
her works. Yeah.
consume all the things, yeah.
Yeah.
So I head dived into the guild, Geek and Sundry. I was watching tabletop, just like everything. And I forget. I feel like maybe Ryan.
Hmm.
I was following Ryan on Twitter for some reason. I don't know. Anyways, I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure he posted something about Team Hooman, and I was like,
Oh.
oh,
Hmm.
Felicia's in this. I'm just going to assume. And I was like,
Mhm.
cool. Awesome. Yay. So I joined that,
Mhm.
and then that was great. And then through either my binging of everything Felicia
Yeah.
or or through that group, I can't remember specifically.
Mhm.
I watched the Trial of the Take Critical Role episodes with Felicia.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then I was like, holy shit, this is pretty awesome. I
Nice.
but then I don't think I like watched it properly. I can't remember
Mm.
what episode I watched.
Hmm.
Like, but I just remember I watched Felicia's and I was like, whoa, this is awesome. And then I think I started watching it live and I didn't get it.
Oh
And then I had
no.
to go back to the beginning and I was like, what is going on?
Stop that, rewind. Yeah, go back to the beginning. Yeah.
Go back to the beginning and then
Oh, that must
yeah.
be brutal to binge that many episodes. Yeah.
Honestly, I think I got in soon enough where it wasn't
Oh.
I feel like I had gotten in just at the right time where it was the summertime, so I had a lot of time on my hands.
Yes.
It was just, and there wasn't a ton of episodes. I think there might have been like, I don't know, not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like,
That's a relief.
I had a quick in, and
Mm-hmm.
it was very, like, bingeable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, now it's like you have to dedicate 2 months of your life.
Yeah. Set
Like,
aside a
two
couple
episodes a
months.
day for 2 months to catch up.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I caught up where I did.
Good.
But, and yeah, I didn't even, like, I came from a small town. So D&D wasn't a thing. It was a small Catholic farming town.
Okay. Yep. So.
Yep, it's one of those stereotypes.
Mm.
Where being a nerd is super out there and weird and
Gotcha.
blah blah blah.
Ah.
It's boo-hoo.
Yeah. Bummer.
So I didn't know what Dungeons and Dragons was, but I love the
Mm.
story. I
Mm.
love the characters. I was able
Right.
to, like, I love Critical Role because I can connect to the characters. I can connect every
Yeah.
single character.
Mm.
And there's not a ton of shows or like media where you can be like, I connect to
Right.
everyone. And
Mm.
I feel like the fact that it's live and the
Mm.
fact that, like, they're real, like, the characters feel like they're real, right? Because
Right.
you're like the person behind them is, it's basically
They're so. Oh,
a,
they're so good.
it's yeah, it's like their second skin basically, right? And
Right.
it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, it's so good, it's so good, it's so good, and it's not like, oh my god, it's so good.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's basically, I mean, there's probably a longer
Mm.
story, but that's basically the condensed version of
Neat.
all that. Yeah.
That's cool. That's a cool track to get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you feel that your place in Team Human and the Critterdom and your experience with that, how do you feel that's changed since like when you first joined up to now?
Uh, well, I think I was a part of a different online community before this one,
Okay.
and it was not great. It was not a great experience. The community became 10,000 plus people in a Facebook group,
Ooh, wow, okay.
and it started becoming very hostile very quickly, and so I had to get out. So
Yeah.
I had to leave that community, and it was basically, it started out as a Team Human type of community. It was all a bunch of nerds that came
Okay.
together, and
Oh, neat.
I'm not gonna get too into it because I do know there's
Sure.
some people who are still a
Mm-hmm.
part of the community who are also humans. So I'm
Gotcha.
just like,
Okay.
it was just out of my comfort level, so I
Sure.
left.
Okay.
And so I was definitely in kind of a space where I was looking for a community. I
Mm.
was looking for, I don't know, a place. And for a while, I kind of hung out, but didn't interact. I think I was just kind of took a step back and was
Mm.
like, gonna just dip my toe into the water
What?
here and
Yeah.
see how it goes. I think the community I was a part of before was definitely more teenage centered.
Okay.
So coming into a bit of an more of an adult community, even now, is still kind of, how do I go about? Because I'm definitely like the young one of
Yeah.
the group,
Mm-hmm.
which originally, and I think to a certain extent, I'm still kind of like, oh, I'm not necessarily, like, I think that sets me apart a little bit, but that's
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily, like, I think I've gotten over it now. But in the
Okay.
beginning, I was kind of like, oh, these people are all adults. And I think same thing with the Team Human community. Like, oh,
Mm.
these people are all adults. They have adult issues and adult problems and adult things and adult stuff to discuss. And I'm just
Yeah.
gonna be here and just be like, oh, I like Felicia
Um.
Day and her
Yeah.
things and Critical Role and their things. So
Neat. Yeah.
meh, that's awesome. But like, the more time you spend in a community, the more time you get to meet the people, the more time
Mm.
you get to like just kind of be like just get to know everybody, and then you
Yeah.
realize. And I think also around the same time that I joined this group, I started joining like my own communities kind of
Okay.
nerd communities. So there was
Hmm.
when I kind of entered both the Team Hooman and the critter community, I was kind of opening myself up a little bit to
Ah, okay.
going to more nerdy things
Mhm.
because at that point I was still like, and I think I still kind of am now, but like,
Mhm.
I'm just going to keep all the nerd stuff online and then
Oh, gotcha.
everything else will, like, they won't intersect.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now I'm going to local Comic Cons. I'm going to Fan
Nice.
Expo. I'm
Nice.
intersecting, if
Yeah.
that's the right word.
Sure.
I'm doing more things.
That's good.
Yeah, which I think is definitely mentally I feel better about myself and knowing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think the community has definitely helped me realize who I am, which is nice. And it's nice that there are people who can appreciate stuff like, oh my god, I bought myself a new set of dice. I don't even play D&D in person, but
Mhm.
look at how pretty these dice look.
Right.
And people can be like, dice, and it's like, ah.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
and
great.
it's great. And then like I talk about like kind of trying to separate the geeky side from the non-geeky side, but
Mhm.
there's actually people in there where I live. There
Mhm.
are a lot of Critical Role fans,
Really?
like a
Wow.
surprisingly large amount of Critical Role
That's
fans.
fantastic.
So it's like you
Awesome.
I volunteered at a board game thing for
Oh.
Family Day,
Mhm.
and there was a guy wearing a Strong Jaw Ale shirt, and I was like, I'm
Critical
wearing my
role.
Critical Role shirt too. We're friends.
That's right. I love that part of the community. You're automatic. As soon as you see the
You're
shirt, you're like,
automatically friends. This guy
"Hey, buddy."
may have been like 60 years old, but we're tight now.
Right.
I mean, that's not creepy at all. I mean,
It is nice to
oh,
have that. Well, I
yeah,
know
it's
what you
nice
mean.
to
Yeah.
be able to just be like, we like something, we have something in common. We don't know each other, but
Nice.
we're a community. And
Mhm.
I think, yeah, I love that. I
Mhm.
love the fact that I'm friends with people from literally all over the world now. I love
Mm.
that I've learned to embrace parts of me that a couple years ago I was like,
Mm.
as much as I am proud of this side of me, I'm just
Mhm.
going to keep this in a box over here, and I'm going to keep
Gotcha.
this other side of me in a box over there, and
Mhm.
they will not cross over, and we will just try and live like that.
Right.
And luckily, yeah, these communities definitely helped me find myself a little bit, which is awesome.
Awesome.
I
Indeed.
kind of forget your question, but
Oh,
that was a
that
good
pretty much
conversation,
covered
I
it.
think.
Yeah. Neat. Um, well, we're gonna jump to the section that where we have some of your fans and followers submitted
Ooh,
some
I love
questions.
fans.
Yay! And
Yay!
as well as just some sort of off the wall questions,
Yeah,
just so people can get to know you a little bit better.
totally.
Um, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're a pretty big, especially in Team Human. You're a big name and critters as well. So I'm positive you have tons of fans. I was happy to see that some people had some interesting questions for you. So,
Cool.
all right, we'll start with the at Crosshair asks. Uh, I always ask this of my Victor friends. What's your favorite cake and why?
God, starting off with the hard questions.
Yeah.
I guess I like it. Kind of depends. I like a lot of types of cake. Um, Fun story. I used to
Mm.
be allergic to sugar, wheat, and dairy, so that meant
No.
I could have no cake. And now I
Oh.
can have cake. So
Wow.
I try not to take my cake for granted. I
Wow.
feel, yeah,
Yeah. That's
so
excellent.
basically
Hi,
any type
precious.
of
Yeah.
cake. Although my mom makes a pretty damn good angel food cake
Ooh, nice.
from, like, I think it's been passed down through generations. It's pretty good.
Oh, those are the best.
Yeah, it's really good. And then if we're talking about store-bought cakes, Marble Slab Creamery has amazing cakes.
Oh, really?
They like if you're gonna get an Oreo cake, they like put the Oreos into the batter and then smush it up. It's really cool.
Oh,
Their way of
wow.
making cakes is really cool. Yeah, so those would if I had to only pick two, those would be my two.
Very cool. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
At the crosshair. um, at tboyce14 has a few questions here. The first of which is, I see you want to be a film producer. How did you go from musical theater enthusiast over to filmmaking?
So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a long story. I'll try and condense it as much as possible. When I was younger, my I was very musically active in the sense that I did a lot of performing in musicals, like
Oh,
outside like I did a lot of musicals. I was Ginny in a Harry Potter musical and Harry Potter
cool.
in the Chamber of Secrets, which I'm
Nice.
pretty sure now is totally illegal. But I
Nice
was
under the
yeah, the
radar.
first
Yeah.
year I think I was like 6 and I was Crab the first year, and then when I was 7 I was
Oh,
Ginny.
nice.
And I do a lot of competitive musical theater, which is
Oh,
kind of
okay.
weird, but it's you yeah, it's a thing.
Hmm.
So anyways,
Hmm.
I got diagnosed with a nonverbal learning disability
Oh, okay.
6 years ago,
Hmm.
and that like part of that is like having kind of not the best memory.
Okay.
So as much as I love like the singing part of musical theater, I
Hmm.
definitely cannot memorize lines
Oh, I
quickly.
see.
I
Hmm.
can't quickly memorize lines. I'm not going to say I can't. It just takes a long time, and I felt like I don't know, theater was getting to the point where it was frustrating for me because I couldn't.
Hmm.
The director would say, "Hey, you've got to have all these dance moves and these lines and all
Right.
this memorized." And
Hmm.
originally, I thought, that this would be a great career for me. But as I got older, I realized, maybe not, maybe
Hmm.
but I definitely still love musical theater. I'm still this year I'm getting back into doing competitive musical theater, which is
Neat.
like wow. Um, but I think kind of the
Hmm.
transition where I realized that this would like musical theater maybe wasn't something that I wanted to do. I kind of went from wanting to be an actor to wanting to do like audiovisual tech for
Hmm.
stage,
Okay.
and then I kind of went over to film because I started watching a lot more film, and I started
Hmm.
realizing that it's not there are a lot of parts that have to make a film. Like
Right.
it's not just there's thousands of behind the scenes people that go into
Yeah.
making film, and I started watching more behind the scenes, and I started
Hmm.
really loving the behind the scenes aspect of movies so much that I'd go to the library,
Hmm.
take out I don't know 10 DVDs,
Hmm.
random DVDs, and I'd watch the behind the scenes,
Oh,
and
nice.
I'd only watch the behind the scenes because that's really all that I was interested in.
Sure.
So I think also growing up on the Harry Potter movies
Hmm.
was definitely something that kind of pushed me towards more like production and
Ah, okay.
stuff because I'd watch the behind the scenes, and you'd watch the movies and be like, oh, magic is real, and then you'd watch the
Hmm.
behind the scenes and be like, oh no, that
Oh,
magic is not real,
no.
but it
Yeah.
looks so real, and you're like, wow, wouldn't that be so cool to be a part of
Hmm.
that part really interests me, and it it kind of amalgamates my love of theater and stage and acting
Sure.
as well as with my love of technology. So
Right.
I mean, I didn't know exactly, like, it didn't kind of hit me that this is what I wanted to do until last year. But
Ah.
once it kind of once I realized like media production is a thing you can get a degree in, that's
Right.
definitely something that's been high priority for me in
Excellent.
going to school, getting a degree, media production, work
Nice.
on films. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Cool. I like that. Neat. Um, let's see. All right. At T Boys 14's next question is how has your nerdiness helped you in life, and are there any nerdy films that you'd like to make?
Okay, so I'll start with the second part of that question because I think I touched on the first part a little bit.
Hmm.
So I was writing my part of my, because when you apply for media production,
Hmm.
it's not like a normal application. So basically, you have to put in a resume, you have to put in a portfolio, you have to write essay
Oh,
questions, you have, as
oh,
well as putting in your grades. So
I
one of
see.
these questions was if you could make a film or be a part of a film, what film would it be?
Hmm.
And I think a lot of my love for movies
Hmm.
started with Harry Potter.
Hmm.
My love for film started with Harry Potter. My love for behind the scenes and like effects and kind of like practical effects and digital effects started with Harry Potter.
Okay.
So if I could work on any of the Fantastic Beast movies that are, because those things are going to go forever. Like
Wow.
I'm going to be out of school and I'm going
Yeah.
to be able to work on those. Like
Right.
I'm not going to, they're
Okay.
still going to be in production is
Right.
while I'm out of school. So there's a possibility, a
Yeah.
slim possibility I could work on those. And honestly, working on one of those movies would literally be a childhood dream because
Right.
that series has kind of shaped my better part of my childhood.
Wow. Neat.
Um, and yeah, my nerdiness has definitely shaped me, I guess,
Hmm.
since the very beginning. I can
Hmm.
remember it started with Harry Potter.
Okay. Yeah.
My mom gave me the first Harry Potter book, and that was kind of the first
Hmm.
chapter book that I'd read by
Oh,
myself.
okay. Neat.
And I I don't know. I just fell in love. I think um I was like 5, and
Oh,
I fell in love with
nice.
Harry Potter. And the thing with falling in love with a fictional character where
Hmm.
I lived, that's just not something you do.
Oh, okay.
Because as I said, I come from a small Catholic farming town,
Hmm.
which yeah.
Hmm.
So
Pretty rough.
I learned a lot about myself in the elementary school because I went to school with the same 15 kids from
Uh,
grade 1 till grade 7,
yep.
and there was a lot of bullying and there was a
Uh,
lot of that fun stuff, but I
what a
think
shame.
I learned a lot about staying, I don't mean this to sound, I don't know, weird and inspirational, but
Hmm.
staying true to who you are
Hmm.
because you can leave those people behind and you still have to deal with yourself, right? And you're
Right.
still so I think
Exactly.
yeah, definitely having kind of knowing who I am and knowing what I like even in an environment where that wasn't always welcome
Hmm.
was definitely because like where I lived there was literally a couple thousand people
Oh,
and the
wow.
town
Okay.
was small and the schools were small
Uh,
and so if you get bullied in grade 1, you're basically set up for life, right?
yeah. What a
And
shame.
everybody does the same things, everybody plays the same sport, you all
Uh,
follow the same
mm-hmm.
cookie
Cookie cutter.
cutter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was definitely not a cookie cutter anything.
Awesome.
As hard as I tried to, because I
Mm.
think the first up until grade 6, I
Mm.
tried so hard to fit in and be with the cool kids. And I look back
Mm.
on it and I was like, you're such a dumbass. Like,
Mm. That's part of,
why?
yeah,
It's part of growing up
experiencing.
and it's part of being like a 10-year-old kid
Yeah.
who has to go to school with the same 15 kids for the rest of her life, right?
Right.
You
Yeah.
kind of want to fit in. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I didn't decide to lose it. I'm glad I
Right.
didn't decide I'm also glad that the internet was a thing because I started learning the ways of internet fandom at a very
Ah,
young age. That's
nice.
how that's how my mom would let me on the computer every Saturday morning for an hour,
Neat.
and I would obsessively go to Harry Potter fan boards, and I would
Mm,
see what people are saying, and I'd be like, yeah, there's something out there for me.
neat.
So
That's great.
I think, yeah, being nerdy has definitely taught me a lot about just kind of sticking through it all, and
Mm,
there'll be tough times, but changing for other people never works out either. So
right.
you
Right.
might as well just do you, and
Yeah.
things will go the way they go.
Neat. Um, let's see. Ooh, another film question. Uh, at T Boys 14's next question. He's got a couple more. Is it true that most Canadian filmmaking is done in Vancouver? And have you thought about or considered moving from Vancouver to LA in the future?
So I'm gonna say probably. I know a lot of the CW TV shows are filmed in
Yeah.
Vancouver, so Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl,
Mm,
those are all filmed.
that's cool.
Suicide Squad was filmed in downtown Toronto.
Oh,
Suicide
really?
Squad was filmed in Toronto.
Okay.
And I know X-Men was filmed in Quebec or
Mm,
Montreal or like somewhere in that area.
okay.
So I mean, I think Vancouver, because it's in such close proximity to LA, is probably, yeah, that's probably your filming,
Mm, the
where
hot
you're
spot up there.
the hot spot of, yeah. Um, yeah, I probably Vancouver, but I mean, there's other places where you can film movies as well. It kind of
Mm,
depends on what you need, I think.
right.
From what very little I know about filming in Vancouver, I think it kind of just depends on what your needs are location wise.
Sure.
Um, it kind of just depends.
Okay.
Um, and would I move? Would I
Mm,
move to, you know, mm, maybe later, but
gotcha.
right now the idea is I'd go to school in Toronto and get a job in Toronto, because there are a lot of media companies that have their kind of main headquarters in Toronto.
Mhm.
I think once maybe I feel confident that I know what I'm doing,
Okay.
maybe I'd move to Vancouver. Vancouver is an expensive place to live.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
Okay.
it kind of would depend on what I'm doing, what I'm
Mhm.
filming, what are the circumstances involved. I mean, yeah, I'd love to move to Vancouver or LA. I think Vancouver over LA,
Okay.
ideally.
Neat.
I like the idea of living like in the mountains.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I think it kind of just, like, I don't know. There's tons of good spots you can move to make movies in Canada. So
Oh,
I
okay.
think I think just Vancouver is known because a lot of superhero movies filmed there, Deadpool filmed there.
Uh,
So,
I see.
and because it's so close to LA too as well. But I don't
Gotcha.
know. Kind of depends. That's kind of hard to answer because I don't really
Right.
have any idea why I'd be going to Vancouver
Yeah.
if that was the case. But yeah.
Neat. Um, ooh, okay. Just two more questions left from at T Boys 14. Next one's a Harry Potter one. Yay. Um,
Hey.
they ask, your Hogwarts house is Hufflepuff, but since you'd be attending Ilvermorny, which house do you think you'd be in? I guess there's
Would I
Thunderbird,
be a
Wampus. I think everyone from North America attends that, even though it's a
Why did I
Massachusetts
think there
based.
was a Canadian school in that mix somewhere?
Maybe there
Maybe I
is.
read Pottermore wrong.
Well,
Um,
this was like a quick wiki check for me because I'm not familiar with the North American one,
yeah,
so you could certainly be
I
right on
I
that.
took the Pottermore quiz for
Ah,
the North American houses
mm-hmm.
right as it came out, and then I
Oh.
remember being disappointed and totally forgot about it.
Nice. Forget this.
So,
Yeah.
I think I have a tight allegiance to Hufflepuff
Okay.
because it's the nerdiest house at Hogwarts.
Um,
And honestly, until we hear more about Ilvermorny, I don't really consider it a school at this point in time
fair
because
enough.
I have no idea anything about it. So,
Right.
yeah, I don't remember. I did the sorting, and I just remember
uh,
thinking, hmm,
Meh.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think because everybody was like, Puckwudgie is a stupid name. Hufflepuff is a stupid name. If you're going to be in Hufflepuff, you're going to be in
uh,
Puckwudgie, and I just remember not being in Puckwudgie, so it's one of the other three.
I see.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They don't hold as much meaning to me either, because I
Right.
didn't grow up with them. I didn't. Harry
Yeah.
Potter I grew up with, and
Yeah, immersed
yeah, it
in it.
was
Yeah.
like, it was a tangible thing.
Mhm.
Hufflepuff is like a tangible
Mm.
house to me. Like, I
Mhm.
have a Hufflepuff scarf.
Oh, that's
Ilvermorny,
awesome.
I'm just kind of like, it exists, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be a transfer student to Hogwarts, to be 100% honest.
Nice.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know.
That's perfect. Um, let's see. Their last question was about Critical Role. Half of it you've already sort of answered. How did you discover Critical Role? You sort of covered.
Mm.
But the second half is, did it impact your creativity at all? And if so, how?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I said this in the spiel before. It was kind of like, you know, the Critical Role artists inspired me to be, to create. At the time I started writing music, I was also influenced by Lin-Manuel Miranda because I was listening to a lot of
Oh,
Hamilton,
yeah.
a lot of In the Heights.
Mhm.
So I think Lin-Manuel Miranda and Critical Role, both two genius, creative, amazing things,
Mhm.
were kind of in my head at once, and I was like, damn, I should do this.
Right?
And I think also seeing other critter artists who are drawing
Yeah.
definitely inspired. Originally I tried to do art.
Okay.
That did not go very well.
Ah.
I drew a shitty Vax, and he was like, "Look
Ah.
at my Vax, guys, it's so beautiful." I think he got like 4 likes, and I was like,
Ah.
"Oh, I can't draw." Um, I was like, "Ta-da! It's art."
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
nobody liked it. And I was like, "Oh."
Aw.
Um, but you know, I found what I was good at, and as I said before, Critical Role helped me realize that, I can make my own music. I don't have to
Mm.
read music out of a book. I can make it
Right.
up myself, which is pretty awesome. And it's definitely a skill I've carried on like forward. So now I'm not just writing music for Critical Role anymore, or
Mm.
based on Critical Role. I'm writing music for concert bands and other
Wow.
things. So it's
Very neat.
it definitely started a little bit of like the spark of creativity where,
Mm.
like I could either have taught myself how to art from scratch, but I mean I already know how to do this thing, so why not use it? Why not use what I already have? So
Right.
I think, yeah, it was definitely Critical Role was definitely helpful in helping me get back into music again because up until
Nice.
that point
Mhm.
I had finished my exams, and so it was a couple years of me just not really playing
Oh. Okay.
because I stopped taking lessons because my exams were over. So it was kind of just in a kind of place where I was like, well, I'm not doing anything with music right now. So,
Right.
and then I started playing again, and Critical Role was writing music based on Critical Role was kind of one of the reasons I started playing again, and then I
Right.
started feeling and falling in love with the piano again, and I fell
Yeah.
back in love, and it was really nice. So yeah, that's
Nice.
basically Critical Role jump started my whole creative mindset, I think, which is
Awesome.
pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. And I've got one final question for you, just for me. What is it about filmmaking that you like best?
I love I love storytelling. I'm not the best writer. I'm not the best actor, but I love those things
Mm,
because they tell a story.
mm.
And I love that. I love storytelling. I think that's another thing that drew me to Critical Role is just the amazing storytelling. Like,
Right?
holy Matthew Mercer, you genius.
Yeah.
I think, like, after every episode of Critical Role, I go to bed with, like, writing prompts of, like, I
Mm,
have a book of fan fiction, Critical Role
nice.
fan fiction that I wrote and nobody will
Oh,
ever read
no.
because it's not good. It's not
Oh,
good.
well.
But the thing is, it doesn't have to be good. You don't have to be good at writing
Mhm.
to be able to tell a story, right?
Yeah.
And I think the thing I like about filmmaking is, as I said before, I'm not the best actress. I'm not the best writer. But when I'm filmmaking, when I'm making films, there's something about being in control of the camera
Mm,
and being in control of what shots you get. A lot of the work I
right.
do by myself, so I'm in control of a lot of
Oh, okay.
what I do,
Hmm.
and I like that. I like being in control of just the outcome, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's definitely my preferred method of storytelling, and I that's kind of why I like it. Yeah.
That's great. I completely agree. There's so much that can be told just from that visual storytelling, the way things are
Mhm.
framed, the way things slide in or out or pan or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Get that, really feel it. Um,
Mhm.
mm, Neat.
Yeah.
That's all the time we have today on World to Mortal. But Kristen, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, it's fun. Thanks for
Yes,
inviting me.
absolutely. My pleasure. uh,
Awesome.
so, do you have, as we wrap up, do you have any thoughts or messages, anything you want to leave our viewers with?
This is so embarrassing. My first thought was follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, we're going to list all that below. Follow Kristen for awesome
You
stuff.
should follow me on social media and follow me on SoundCloud
Yes.
and YouTube because I'm still
Oh.
trying to decide whether I want to continue posting to SoundCloud or not.
Oh, okay.
Um, so hopefully after this next month or so, I'll start writing music again, and hopefully I'll actually have a half decent recording mic.
Okay.
And hopefully, yeah, and my friend and I are possibly putting out some actual kind of professional-ish music. So just,
Ooh.
if you follow me on Twitter, you'll get to know all about my life and hear about all my projects. So
Nice.
that's probably the best place to do all that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you heard her, viewers. Go check her out. You
Yeah.
can find all her info in the About section below the video here.
Yeah.
Neat. All right. Thank you, viewers, for watching, and thank you again, Kristen, for being here so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Neat.
All right.
Take care, everyone. Bye.